Hey, and welcome back to my studio. Today I want to show you around in my space because the year is finally coming to an end. 2019, 2020 is around the corner, so I want to give you an update what I acquired this year or what I sold this year. I'm going to show you a little bit around, and that's coming up now. All right, so let's start over here in the left corner of the room. This is basically the first or the biggest investment I took this year, which is a vocal booth from Clearsonic. In the description below, I have a link to my video where I made a review about that. So basically what you can see, it's made of acrylic glass. It's quite sturdy actually, but you can always tear it down and again build it up somewhere else where you need the space. I actually made it a little bit bigger. As you can see, I have 3 baffles in there. Normally it comes with 2 baffles, but I had 1 spare baffle already, so I could make it a little bit bigger. I also closed the lid behind there with a blanket. And as you can see, it's actually quite roomy, so you can also record acoustic guitar in there or brass instruments or something like that, but I mostly use it for voiceover and vocals. I also use it for the guitar amplifiers because I live in an apartment, so I have neighbors above and below me, and this actually makes the guitar amplifiers a little bit quieter, so I have no problems with the neighbors. All right, so let's move on to the microphones. Let's close that, and let's go here to the microphone section. So as you can see, I have everything labeled. So I have guitar stuff, I have insert cables, RCA cables, patch cables, mic cables, and so forth. And you have all the microphones stored in their storage. And first of all, I got here the LCD 640TS, which is probably my main go-to mic at the moment. It's a wonderful sounding microphone, and you can change the polar pattern after you recorded it. So it has a dual diaphragm, front and back. And with a plug-in, you can change the polar pattern after the recording. I also have a video about that on my channel, of course. And what do I have also is my basically on-set sound live rig, which is a Audio Technica AT875R, which is a shotgun microphone, and just some headphones, cable, the Zoom recorder, and that's basically my main equipment for on-set sound, so for film stuff actually. Then let's move on to the next. Here I have a couple of large diaphragm microphones. Let's put that away. Very affordable Audio Technica 2020. Sounds nice on guitars. And also a rather affordable MXL9000, which is a tube microphone. It's also a separate power unit. Sounds quite good on male vocals, for example. And then I have here the AKG, which is the C414, and this is my main microphone for voiceover or for vocals. But of course works also great on guitars or electric guitar amplifiers. All right, let's move to the last one here. And it's quite heavy. What have we in here? AKG, the C1000S, basically one of my first microphones. Some like it not so much, but I think it sounds great on acoustic guitar, and basically use that for that. Then 2 dynamic microphones. They're copies of 58s. So Shure 58s, this is JTS PDM3, sound basically the same, and I use that for taking live vocals or something like that. Then I also got a ribbon microphone, which is the T.bone RB100. Very cheap microphone actually. Use that always on guitar amplifiers. And room microphones tend to use or need quite a lot of gain. And I recently got this, which is the Triton Audio FetHead. And this little device lets you boost up the gain quite a bit. Just put it directly into the microphone and in the microphone cable. Needs 48 volts phantom power, and it gives you basically 29 dB of gain. So you can turn down the gain on the preamp, and you can use it with ribbon or dynamic microphones. It works really great for that. All right, so here we have some fun stuff actually. My Game Boys and Super Nintendo. If you have spare time in the studio, you can always play a little bit with the Game Boy Advance or the Super Nintendo. Down there is also a old Fostex 4-track cassette player, so you can also record if you want to with analog tape. And here's basically just some cables. And let's move on now to the instruments. Okay, as far as instruments goes, I have a digital piano here, which is the Thomann DP95. I basically don't use the internal sound that much. I use it mainly as a MIDI input, so a controller, but it has a very nice key action. So I use that with software like from Waves, the Grand Rhapsody piano, or Logic has great sounding Yamaha, Bösendorfer, and Steinway pianos. But the action of this keyboard is quite nice, hammer-weighted keys, so like on a real piano. Then we have here a mandolin and a stack ukulele. This one I purchased quite recently and I started playing it. Well, not in tune, but it sounds quite nice, very affordable again. And the ukulele I had for quite some time. And let's move on to the guitars over here. All right, so as far as the guitars goes, I have 2 basses, 4 acoustic guitars and 3 electrics. The bass, first one here is a Harley Benton jazz bass. Then I got also a Beatles bass, which has a very different sound to the jazz bass with flat wound strings. So quite a dampened, muffled sound actually. Then the first acoustic guitar here is my old Hohner guitar. I have that now in the tuning of a Nashville tuning. So you can, when you play it with a normal tuned acoustic guitar, you can kind of mimic a 12-string guitar. Then I got the Ibanez classical. For quite some time, sounds quite nice. Then a Hummingbird copy, which has actually a broken neck. It's not fixed quite good, so the action is quite high, but I use that mainly for slide guitar. So it works great for that. And then my main acoustic guitar is the Recording King 07. Probably could see that or hear that actually on my other videos. And then electric guitars, I have here a Squier Stratocaster, sunburst finish, a Carrier LP, so a Les Paul copy, very heavy, and my go-to electric guitar, the Epiphone Sheraton II, and this is a really nice guitar. Plays very nice and it also sounds very nice. All right. Those are the instruments, and let's move on here to the technical stuff. All right, so the first rack, what changed here? Actually not that much. Alesis 3630, I have that on the drums parallel, so kick drum and snare drum parallel. Then I got the Art Power Plant, which is a guitar amplifier actually, but I use that on a second channel of the bass track. So just to give it a little bit more cred. Then 3 FMR units. First one is the RNLA that I use mainly on acoustic guitar. The second one is a RNC, which I use on the lead vocal parallel, and that one is on the back vocal parallel. So quite slamming, but works great for that. Then lead vocals, I have those two, the Klark Teknik 1176 and the Klark Teknik 2A. So that's the first one that takes off the peaks in limiting mode, and the 2A does the main compression. Everything else is done EQ-wise in the box, in Logic, or on the Soundcraft. Then I have here 4 units, which are external multi-effects actually. So Midverb 4, which I use most of the time in the warm room setting. Then I got the Lexicon MX200, used it mainly on the drums, like a gated reverb or something like that. Lexicon LXP15, I have that mainly on the vocals, and the TC Electronics M350 again also on the vocals with a slapback, and it has a very nice classic hall actually. Guitar effects, I have here Wah Wah Battle. Nothing changed here. The new thing is here the Big Muff and the TC Electronic, the Prophet, which is a delay. Sounds really great, very versatile. And what can you say about the Electroharmonix Big Muff? Just crazy distortion. Okay, so one of the new things is this Akai drum bed actually, which is a MIDI controller, and I use that just for making quick beats or something like that. I always wanted to have one, and I got this secondhand very cheap. Then I got on the drums here the TL Audio A2 on the drum bass actually. Then I got underneath here, I don't know if you can see that, the DBX160 on the bass, and the Tegeler Audio, which is the blue one here, on the overall mix bus. Sounds very like a SSL bus compressor, and it also has a EQ, kind of like a Pultec EQ. Sounds really great. Soundcraft GB4, still have that board. I use basically all the channels, so I bring them out of Logic. So Logic is still my main DAW. So all the channels from Logic go to the Soundcraft. I have 32 channels. They are separated in different sections. Like I have on the first part here the drums, I have the bass in the middle, then all the guitars and synth vocals, and on this side are all the external effects. As far as monitoring goes, that's basically a new headphone, the Sony MDR 7506. Great sounding headphones. And my main go-to monitors are the Adam Audio's T7Vs. They sound really great, very clear, high-end, and I think they also go down to 38 Hertz, so you are pretty much covered also on the low end. So then the last track here, still have my TL Audio Ivory 5050. I use that now on vocals and instruments. As you can see, there is an empty slot. There were the Fredensteins, the VAS compressor, and the mic pre in there. I didn't like that sound of them too much, so I sold them, and I probably get a other flavor mic preamp in there. I'm not quite sure what, but I will figure it out. Then I have here the HP4 from Millenium. This is the monitoring. So I have 4 different monitoring sections to give 4 different headphone mixes. Then here is a kind of like a patch bay for all the microphone inputs XLR, and they go on the back directly into the Presonus Fire Studio project. I have still 3 of them for analog digital conversion. And here is my good old Nakamichi cassette deck 2 that I use sometimes for tape saturation, drums, or even also on the whole mix. All right, here is my good old Apple Mac Pro, still works great. So I didn't want to change anything here because never change a running system actually. All right, so that's basically once again it. This is my whole studio. It's not that big, but it works great for what I do actually. It was a really great year for me so far, and I can't wait how 2020 is going to be. So I hope that you have also a good start in the new year. So all the best. And as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and see you in the next video.